Prof, your submission was extremely very clear and straightforward. We are so... there's a second one? Oh, Prof, there is another one?
Yes, there's a second one.
Oh, good. Thank you so much. I'll proceed with the second one.
Yes. My second presentation is based on the ratification. No, I'm reading. Yes, sorry. Yes, my second presentation is based on the ratification of Southern African Service Center for Climate Change and Adaptive Land Management, SASCO Treaty. The format is the same. I will introduce and then talk about the importance of SASCO and the treaty, and then comments on the statutes of the treaty and conclusions. As a matter of introduction, I must give some background to why SASCO was set up. Since inception in 1988, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, has prepared 6 comprehensive reports about the state of scientific, technical and socio-economic knowledge on climate change, its impacts and future risks and options for reducing the rate at which climate change is taking place. Yeah, this organization produces knowledge, and Zambia is a member of this, does produce knowledge, does give warnings about climate change. IPCC, being a leading intergovernmental body for assessment of climate change, is the key source of scientific information and technical guidance to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, and Paris Agreement, which Zambia is a member. The assessments have revealed climate is unequivocal. Yes, people doubt about climate change. There are some doubters, but climate change is unequivocal, and the changes in temperature and precipitation patterns have increased, and the frequency, duration, and intensity of other extreme weather such as floods, droughts, heat waves, and tornadoes. Yes, in the past years and in the future, there will be droughts, there will be heavy rainfall, but they can be predicted, and this science is already predicted. If Zambia takes seriously in knowing this knowledge, we can predict that next year we shall have a drought, the other year we shall have floods. There are early warning systems which are available. So the onus is on us to be aware of this knowledge. And then in addition to the IPCC knowledge, other scientists, other regional scientists, other national, regional, and international scientists have undertaken various research activities in mitigation, vulnerability, and adaptation to climate change. The information is available. However, despite this knowledge developed over the years, there is a lack of serious linkage between research results on climate change and other decision making at government level. The research is there, researchers do their work, but there is no linkage with government. Government is not aware, government does not read in sometimes. For example, in the 2023 drought, being the worst in living memory, invariably caused by climate change, has resulted in electricity shortages, which have affected the power supply throughout the country. We know where there's load shedding and power outages, and have effects on the agriculture sectors, industries, and household food security, with negative implications for the productivity of the country's economy. The evidence is there. Yet, between 2005 and 2012, a study on the effects of climate change, variability, implications on hydroelectricity generation in the Zambezi River was not taken by the Center for Energy, Environment and Institution, that's my institution, Investor of Zambia, Edward Mondlane University for Mozambique, Energy, Environment and Computing Geographic Application from Botswana, an energy consultant, and Zimbabwe did work for 5 years on this study. The study revealed that the main climate and other risks associated with current and future hydraulic power production include projected dry spells over the years 2015 to 2015, which were likely to result in droughts. Consequent results were likely to reduce runoff and hence reservoir storage capacity, resulting in reduced power generation capacity. Yes, this study information is there, telling that this year we shall have droughts, we shall have rainfall documented, but because of the lack of linkage between scientists and state results on one hand and government on the other, we found ourselves in this position. If we took results seriously, we wouldn't have found ourselves in this position. That is my conclusion on that. And to mitigate the risks, the following were recommended as far as back 2022. Interbasin transfer, for example, between Wapula River and the Kafue River. His Excellency the President is now talking about this. He's heard about it. He's talking about it. I think someone went to State House, somebody foreigner, told him, say, that's a beautiful idea. And yet the idea was recommended by local scientists, by regional scientists in this country. He picked up that idea. He's talking about it. But if we had implemented this as far as in 2012, the picture would be different. The picture will be different now. At the same time, recommendations involved diversification. Sorry, I thought I switched off my phone. Sorry. Sorry, I'm very sorry. I switched off my phone, but no. Yes, it came back. Yes, and other recommendation involved diversifying the energy mix. The energy mix must be satisfied, but not only solar, wind, geothermal, and biomass. Yes, we're concentrating now on solar, but the energy mix must be broad enough. We must have geothermal applications. We must have biomass. We put a lot of biomass which we can use to produce electricity and so on. These recommendations were done, but they were not taken seriously. Yes, the importance of interbasin transfer is very important because it allows storage at Kariba, Itesteji, Kabora Bassa for use in dry season. Transfers will be more economic in cases where it's not possible to generate electricity on site. From the foregoing analysis, it's very clear that Zambezi River Basin have the biggest potential for hydroelectric power generation, and most transfer schemes appear feasible. So what was required is now to take serious feasibility studies and implement the transfer we're talking about, not only in Zambia but in the region, depending on the location of the power station. Now I'll talk about the importance of SASCO. The Southern African Science Service Center for Climate Change Adaptation, Land Management, SASCO, was formed in 2020. It's a joint initiative of Angola, Botswana, Namibia, South Africa, Zambia, and Germany.
Is it 2020 or 2010?
2010.
Okay.
2010, sorry, 2010, the joint initiative of Angola, Botswana, Namibia, South Africa, Zambia, and Germany in response to the challenge of climate change. It aims to strengthen the regional capacity to generate and use scientific knowledge products and services for decision making on climate change and adaptive land management through research, management, human capital development, and service brokerage. The initiative aims to place possible solutions to the main challenges of global change, to develop and produce scientifically sound findings and sustainable socio-economic benefits of the entire Southern African region. Further, its mission to conduct problem-oriented research in the area of adaptation to climate change and sustainable land management and provide evidence-based advice for all decision makers and stakeholders. The time goal is to improve the livelihood of people in the region and to contribute to the creation of an African knowledge-based society interdependent between areas of hydro schemes, climate, agriculture, forestry, biodiversity, and capacity building in partner countries is of key focus of SASCO. Once a treaty is signed, it will provide a good linkage between research and knowledge results which I've talked about, which is available in the public domain, and SASCO will governments to implement the findings and recommendations resulting from research on climate change. That is my main point, to have that linkage and request governments to implement, because researchers now, they do research ends on the shelf. Nobody takes it seriously. But if there's an institution which, after researchers have done their work, they'll be able to implore on governments to implement on time these recommendations. Comments on the statutes? Yes, I've got comments on the statutes. Article 3, aims and functions. Yes, I agree with this one. Aims and functions are broad and comprehensive enough to enable SASCO to be in a position to transform research on results into implementation, which has been a missing link so far. Article 4, portfolios. Article 4, portfolios and portfolios. The portfolios on research, service capacity, research, service capacity development should be complemented with a fourth portfolio on transfer of knowledge and implementation. That's very, very important. Don't just have research, but you must have transfer of knowledge and implementation, so that results which the SASCO will be able to do should be able to implement the results, not ending on the shelf. Organ seats of SASCO, in addition to council of ministers, governing body with executive board, a subsidiary body, scientific advisory committee, and regional secretariat, they should include on the structure the nodes, not secretariat, because each country is going to have a node secretariat, but is not part of the establishment. Article 3, governing body and committees. It says the chairman should not vote. What I'm recommending is that chairman should at least be allowed to vote in case of a tie. Article 12, the executive. The executive committee consists of one member from the board. Yes, they've just said the secretary general and the chief executive of the company should serve as part of this board. But what I'm saying is that there should be one member who should be placed on the board on a rotation basis from the countries, in addition to the board chairperson, vice chair, and the executive board. Because now it's recommended that the executive committee should consist of board chair, vice chairperson, and the executive board. and the executive board, which is the secretary. But there should be one member from each country on a rotating basis to serve on the executive boards. In conclusions, in view of the importance of SASCO in bridging the gap between research results in climate change and decision-making and implementation, which I'm emphasizing, Zambia should ratify the Southern African Service Center for Climate Change and Adaptive Land Management SASCO Treaty, as long as comments indicated in the Section 3 are taken into account. Thank you very much, Chair. I'll finish my presentation.
Thank you very much, Prof. Honorable colleagues. Are there questions? Let me start with the Honorable Simbode and Honorable Malambo.
Thank you, Chair. Professor, thank you for your presentation, very educative. I want to remind you of one thing, Professor, that the Chair, I think, gave you immunity. Didn't you, Chair?
Yes.
He gave you immunity. So whatever you say will just remain here, Professor. I was following you very closely, and it's sad indeed to find that, as you rightly pointed it out, that when information is given, for example, to predict droughts like this one, some group of people do not take this seriously. And because they do not take this seriously, that's why we are ending up in situations such as this. Professor, who are these? Is it the politicians or it's the technocrats who are causing us to end up in such a mess? Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. You can
thank you very much,
take note.
Chair. Through you, let me ask the professor, looking at the experience or the vast experience that he has from the University of Zambia. Professor, there are a good number of sites which I can cite here, which includes in Wengwa and Lochiniva, where the hot springs are. You can talk about Kapesha, Chinyunyu, Itestezi. All these areas, they've got hot springs which can be able to help to generate geothermal. Professor, why is it that we are not taking advantage of the natural resources that we have in the country? You coming from the background of the University of Zambia, where we produce a lot of engineers with massive experience, of course, elsewhere they are performing very well, whilst in the country they are not doing as fine. Where are we finding a challenge to harness this industry to ensure that at least we can be able to produce the much needed electricity? The other one, Prof, is on the transfer of water from the Ruapula River into the Kafue Basin. I think there has been a good number of NGOs that had come on board to help to salvage this situation by way of funding. I remember the other time we even had a meeting here sometime last year in the amphitheater, where one individual was trying to talk about the same, and not even involving government money, but money from elsewhere. Where is the impediment for us to transfer water from Ruapula River? Just try to be as frank as possible. Is it traditional? Is it the reluctance from government? Where is the problem to transfer water into Kafue Basin so that electricity could be generated? As you should be aware, 90% to almost 99% of the water in Kafue Basin is subscribed to generate electricity and irrigation. So we have very little water that somebody can be able to salvage to do another project, whilst it is passing through a lot of arable land which we can be able to use for farming. I just want to get a credit from yourself, Prof. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Prof, you can respond to those three questions.
Yes, thank you. Yes, the first question, who is to blame? The politician and the technocrat. Both, in my view, are to blame. But more, the technocrats. Technocrats are aware, but in most cases, they don't read. They don't read research findings. Politicians come and go, yes, we know, but some politicians are also not aware of these things. So both are to blame, in my view. but particularly the technocrats who should be able to advise the politicians. Yes, they are ignorant, I must say. Yes, and it's a pity. Yes, because this information, when you did research, the Minister of Energy was informed, the Minister of Agriculture was informed, the ZESCO was informed, but they were looking at, oh, research. So, that's my answer to your question, Honorable. Yes, your answer about, you're talking about geothermal, hot springs in Zambia. But I must say that, are you not aware of Kalahari company, which is developing some geothermal in Monzi, that person you mentioned, Wengwa. That company has been there for 5-6 years, using their resources. They've been developing the geothermal. They're about to now, they've been drilling, and so they've found the sources. They'll be able to drill to produce electricity. They'll start with 15 megawatts, and if they get funding, they'll be able to develop more. But I want to give a background to this Kalahari. Yes, Kalahari came to see me, the person, Mr. Steve, yes, called Steve, came to see me once and said, I want to develop this Kalahari. How do I do it? So I told him, yes, I've got contacts in Kenya where they've developed geothermal. I made the arrangements. We flew to Kenya. We went to Nakuru. We saw the geothermal, and he was very much encouraged. He came back and started working. He's working with Mr. Moses Banda. I think you know Mr. Moses Banda, the former advisor to President Levin Massa. They're working together and developing this resource. So it's something is doing it. We need more people to come on board and develop these resources, the hot spring. Yes, most of these hot springs you can develop geothermal. And fortunately, in the integrated resource plan, which has been developed up to 2040, geothermal is there. I think they've planned about 50 megawatts of geothermal. So the plan is there, and I hope other partners can come in and develop. Yes, the other question on the implementing water transfer from Wapula to Kafue. When you suggested this scheme, some NGOs were against it. They nearly killed me. You want to transfer water from Wapula to Kafue, you're going to disbalance this. So some NGOs were against. I'm not aware of the NGOs who supported that, but some NGOs were very much against, especially late Mr. Chimambo, who is the environment, is so much against, but the idea is there. There are measures you can make to make a balance of the water systems. So that's why I can answer your question. Thank you very much.
Very interesting. Yes, honorable colleagues. Prof. Yes, Honorable Simbao.
Maybe just a follow-up. Professor, this presentation of yours is very interesting. Prediction you said, like for example 2015 to 2030, which is about 35 years. Are you able to project even shorter periods than only such big range?
Yes. Use the same models, different models, to predict the present and future. And these models have been calibrated from the past results, and they predict in the future. They predict which year there will be a drought, which year there will be more rainfall. They are valuable. And we did predict these years. And we predicted the runoff is going to decrease. It's going to further decrease. So we need to diversify the energy mix in Zambia. Not only solar, we are concentrating on solar, but other energy sources like the Honorable said, geothermal, bioenergy. We've got so many crops in Zambia. The waste from there, of course, part of the waste is used for mulching, but the remaining waste can be used for generation of electricity. Thank you very much.
Yes, Prof. Yeah, on the issue of predictability here in the country, I think the issue, if we don't handle it properly, between NGOs, some organizations and companies and the government as well. And it's like when these things are talked about, and I remember last year, I think the Minister of Green Economy did sound a warning that we are not going to have enough rains. But people didn't take it serious, especially even the farmers who went throughout just to plant. And the information was mentioned even on the floor of the House. And between the organizations, like even your organization and other organizations, how is your collaboration between your organization and the government? How do you collaborate? Or maybe the collaboration is not very, very good, that maybe you need to do more so that we move at the same space. Then I say so because even the issue which we are in today, the issue of load shedding, it's something which just came abruptly. Okay, we never thought about that there would be a serious drought which we experienced last time, whereby rivers are completely very dry. Even Zambezi waterfalls there at Victoria Falls, it's completely dry. Okay, even this year there was no waterfalls, nothing, completely zero, and something which we have never experienced from the time some of us were born. And we hear people complain, even some technocrats and some of those who sit in these boards, in these companies, who knows exactly what is happening on the ground. It's like in Zambia everything has just become political. The situation is serious on the ground, but people are busy now condemning that we are not, the government, okay, has failed on electricity, what and what. When this thing has just come at a time when nobody expected it, and within a year, and the solution to look at, okay, the energy sector, not to come up with enough energy to feed our country, okay, is very, very true, because this thing has just happened within a year, and to come up with a solution again within a year is something which is very difficult. But we know people are talking, organizations and governments. What do you think must be done to make sure people do understand the reality on the ground? Because some technocrats and other politicians, well-educated people, are the people misleading the masses. Your take on that one. Then the other one is on the issue of SASCO. A number of countries, a professor, really wanted to join this SASCO here in Southern Africa. But there are very few countries, which is Angola, Botswana, Namibia, South Africa, Zambia. And Germany is the one which started funding this SASCO. And majority countries in Southern Africa did want to join. And the affiliation fee, okay, for this SASCO, people are not able to come out clearly. It's like they hide some information. Other countries want to join, but when you ask the people now in the forefront of SASCO, you ask them how much is the affiliation fee. They don't want to disclose. Maybe you can help this committee so that we can also help some of our neighboring countries here in Southern Africa so that they can join. The information is not flowing properly. Your take on this one, Prof. Thank you.
Yes. My institution. Yes, but by the way, they came late. Who are they?
Oh.
Sorry.
Yes, honorable colleagues, you can introduce yourselves, especially those who just came.
Okay, thank you very much, Chairperson. I'm a member of Parliament for Kawata. My name is Andrew Taengwa. I'm a member of this committee.
I'm a member of Parliament for Gwembe. My name is Tyson Simuzengiri.
Thank you. Good morning, Professor. I'm Michael Katambo, MP for Masaid Parliamentary Constituency, and I'm a member of this committee. You're welcome.
Yes, you can put your mic, Prof.
Yes.
Your mic, put it on.
So we work closely with government. The government know me, and most of the executives in government private sector, they've passed through our hands. Those were engineers. From 1973, I've been teaching engineering, so they know me. We work together with them. The problem is, even themselves, they don't take research results seriously. They don't take research results seriously. And for you, you said, if they follow predictions, if we read very much, if we study very much, we would have known that there will be a drought this year. Predictions are there, but we are ignorant. Technocrats are ignorant, politicians are ignorant. They don't take research seriously. That's my take on that. No, work with them. We tell them. We have workshops, we have conferences. We tell them climate change. We show them all the diagrams. They just look. So they don't take the matter seriously. So that is why we find ourselves in this problem. And on the issue of blaming government for, no, I cannot blame government because it was expected. We scientists expected it. But the only thing I can blame government is not to have made, when we made the recommendations, to have started implementing this in 1912. I think the MMD was in power by then. No, it was 1912, and PF was in power. They should have, the MMD and PF, they should have taken this work seriously and start implementing these things at the time. But we don't take research seriously. Politicians don't take research out seriously. Even Democrats don't take research seriously. So that's why we find ourselves in this problem. It's about SASCO. Some countries not joining SASCO. I'm not aware of the membership fee, but I'm aware that Germany government has pumped a lot of funds in this institution, and they'll continue funding the institution. But of course, there is a fee which every country pays. Maybe you can complain about the benefit is a lot. Even the former the latter institution I talked about, Zambia should contribute. They should contribute every year. There's a fee which they prescribe to contribute for the running of the institution. But the benefit we get is more than what we are paying. That's my answer to that.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Katambo.
Thank you so much, Chair. My understanding, Professor, is that, through the Chair, is that the funding for these annual obligations will be funded by grants and loans and contributions from government and institutions as per requirement that each member state is supposed to pay annual obligations. But as a country, we've signed quite a number of treaties with other countries. One such that was outlined by our chairperson in his earlier question. But don't you think that we may face sanctions once we fail to pay these obligations as per requirement?
Yes, there are so many, as he said, there are so many treaties we've got to contribute. But I think we've got to find money to contribute. Because if you don't contribute, as you likely say, we shall be a penalty. But what I can say is, the money we pay is so little to the benefit we benefit from these institutions. So it's better for countries to find money and pay. It's not a lot of money, find money and pay. Yes, the number is increasing. This maybe is a burden on the government, but we must find money to pay for these institutions because the benefits are greater, I must say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable colleagues, is there another question? Prof, we want to thank you for interacting with you, and we have benefited a lot from your 2 submissions, which is going to make our work very easy. And we have just this little time which we have been with you. We have really benefited from your submission. And Prof, as we are coming now to the end of our discussion with you, we want to thank you most sincerely, and we are withdrawing the immunity which we had given you when you entered this room. We want to thank you and expect to see you in time soon when you'll be required to appear before this committee, and we thank you for your collaboration with the committee. Thank you very much, Prof.
Yeah, thank you very much also for the opportunity for me to present the information of the 2 papers. Yes, my meaning to be lost, but I'm a senior citizen. I won't make any offense when I go outside.
Thank you very much.
You can just introduce yourself, sir.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good morning, Chair, once more, and good morning, honorable members. My name is Cliff Mpundu, Member of Parliament for Chembe constituency, and as sitting in as the Vice Chair of the Cabinet Affairs Committee. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, Chairperson. Peter Piri, Member of Parliament from Kaika constituency. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'm Fred Jatila, Member of Parliament for Momba constituency, Mwanzi Chairperson for the committee. So you are appearing before this committee, where I think we were given head number 1, that is the State House, and then head number 2, also the Vice President, and then the 08, also the President, and the last one, not the least, head number 19, that is the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit for the financial year 1st January 2025 to 31st December 2025. We do have your document in terms of what is prepared for submission. So what we'll ask you is, will you take us through the whole, all the 4 heads? You just have to maybe restrict yourselves to recommendations that which you are giving to this committee, and then in other salient points, and then you allow the members to ask questions if at all they have any. Okay, so you can start. We'll give you say about 20 minutes if you need all of it to take us through the presentation.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think, Chair, the discussion will be in 4 parts, as according to the aids that we were told to scrutinize. Chairperson, I thank you for according me this opportunity to present the 2025 budget estimates of expenditure for Head 1, State House, Head 2, Office of the Vice President, Head 8, Office of the President, which is the Cabinet, and Head 19, Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, that were considered by the Committee on Cabinet Affairs in accordance with the Standing Order 206 and 207 of the National Assembly of Zambia, Standing Order for 2024. Chairperson, having full confidence that the committee has gone through the report, the key features of the committee's findings and recommendation have been summarized below. Part 1. The key features of the committee's finding and recommendation for Head 1, State House. Overview of State House contributions. Chairperson, I wish to state that State House, as outlined in Article 91 of the Constitution of Zambia, is tasked with the overall governance of our nation, ensuring the sovereignty and integrity of Zambia while safeguarding the interests of our citizens and residents. State House aligns with Strategic Development Area number 4 of the 80th National Development Plan, which focuses on promoting good governance environment with specific outcome aimed at improving our policy and governance frameworks. Key strategies include decentralizing public service delivery and strengthening transparency and accountability mechanisms. Compliance with the provision of Section 26 and 48 of the National Planning and Budget Act number 1 of 2020. Chairperson, allow me to highlight a critical compliance issue. State House currently lacks an approved strategic plan as required by the National Planning and Budget Act. The plan remains in a draft form, and the 2023 Budget Performance Report has not been submitted to the National Assembly, which is a concern oversight. Cross-cutting and emerging issues relating to the program under State House. Chairperson, it is important to note that while the allocation for management and support services has slightly increased, it still exceeds the recommended limit of 10% of the total budget. Additionally, it should be noted that all programs experience a reduction in funding for 2025, including Presidential Advisory Services and Presidential Affairs and Initiatives, which raises concern about their operation effectiveness. 2. The ongoing energy crisis is significantly impacting State House operations. The committee thereby urges immediate action to procure a solar energy system to sustain power supply and mitigate disruptions. Number 3, furthermore, the absence of environmental and climate action advisory services in our sub-program allocation is concerning. Given the adverse effect of climate change, we must integrate these services into our planning to enhance resilience and sustainability. Committee observation and recommendation. In conclusion, the committee recommends the following: revising key output indicators to align with the available resources. 2, exploring alternative funding sources and conducting.
Vice Chair, on your report, you're on page what?
I'm on page 4.
We're on page 4. And which one? 3.0 under 3.9. That's where the committee's observations are on the recommendation page.
I see.
Page 5. if you have the same document, like in terms of pages, if you check under page 5, item number 3.9.
Yes. Page 5.
Isn't it?
This is it. Yeah, Chairperson, these, I'm using the talking notes.
Okay.
Yeah, and going head by head.
Okay.
Yes.
So that one is under State House.
Under State House. That's why I said it will be presented in 4 parts.
Okay.
As per head. So
okay.
This is under State House.
Okay. So because we are looking at the recommendations we are indicating which are written here, which we will take, because this is the document we use to compile.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so we must start with that. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see how you manage.
Yeah, then the last one, urgently procure a solar system for State House so as to improve the operation. Part 2, the key features of the committee finding and recommendation for head 2.
Just wait. Let's go to yes, Honorable Jamba. Just what? Your mic?
Yeah.
It's very important, Chair, that we follow where someone is presenting. Me, I'm lost because he's where he's reading now. I can't even see. I'm trying to follow. Please, can we have some bit of direction?
Okay, that's the guide I gave. Yes. So let's that's why I said let's go to part 2 under committee's observations and the recommendations. Honorable Smunch.
Chair, I agree with Honorable Jamba's comments. I wish the witness can use the copy we have so that we are able to follow. For now, we are totally lost.
Okay. You do observation and recommendations under what? The second one. Let's try.
The second.
You are looking at the head number. Because we are done with the
head 1.
So you are on head number 2.
Yes.
Also the vice president. Also the vice president.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's get your recommendations and observations.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. On head 2, recommendation, that is the Office of the Vice President, a detailed financial need assessment to be undertaken for the resettlement management program and a review of the budget for national value program to ensure adequate funding. Number 2, an assessment of barriers hindering constituency visits to be undertaken. Those are the recommendations on head 2, Office of the Vice President. Head 8, the recommendations. The recommendation on head 8, the committee recommends the following: the need to develop a sub-program for boys and young men's welfare. Number 2, there is need to conduct a staffing assessment in the Cabinet Office to enhance plan approvals. Number 3, there is need to carry out a review of the NEPA budget request to ensure adequate funding for the public service training.
One of members, just a moment. One of members, the vice chairman's person is on point. If you go to page number 17, so that we are together. Number 17. Okay. That was the last recommendation. Roman email number 3, isn't it? Okay. Are we there? Page number 17. Roman email number 3. Okay, maybe I can read what is just what is in summary form. So it says the committee therefore recommends that the Minister of Finance and National Planning should conduct a thorough review of NIPA's budget, isn't it?
Yes.
Request to justify the need for the 65 million. So he's on point. I've been following him from the time we guided him. So he's on page number 17 now. Is that fine? Honorable Jamba, because I've seen all of yours too. Yes. Sorry? Okay, so with that guide, we are now in tandem with him. You can continue. Yes, you can switch on your mic.
Zone.
Yes.
Maybe he can guide us once he should be even mentioning the pages.
No. So he has talking. He is coming with talking notes. Once we have the 4 documents, so he's doing the summary, which is very much okay. Okay, you can proceed, sir.
Thank you very much, Chair. We go to head 19. That is the disaster management unit. The committee recommendation.
And that is on page 21 on our document.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chairperson, the committee recommends the following. There is need for a shift in focus from reactive response to proactive disaster management. While the increased budget allocation presents an opportunity to enhance disaster risk management, it is imperative that funding is directed towards building resilient infrastructure and enhancing preparedness capabilities. 2, there is a need to develop a comprehensive national strategy that prioritizes disaster prevention and mitigation, integrating risk assessment, resource allocation, and community engagement. 3, adequate funds should be allocated to boost infrastructure such as flood defenses and water management system to ensure sustainable disaster management practices moving forward. Chairperson, those are the recommendations as per heads which we were tasked to look at. And in conclusion, Chairperson, I would like to state that the committee acknowledged that the 2025 national budget was formulated within a constrained fiscal space due to the ongoing challenges the country is facing. This includes the drought, energy crisis. Regardless, the committee commends the government for its efforts towards achieving national development goals. However, the committee expressed concern over the reduction allocation towards key programs such as disaster risk management under head 19, DMMU, and the National Institute of Public Administration under head 8, Cabinet Office, Office of the President. In this regard, the committee urges the expanded Planning and Budgeting Committee to consider adopting the committee's recommendation on the 4 heads under consideration. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, any questions? Any questions? I want to just find out, especially regarding your as you are concluding, where you're saying you are urging this committee to consider adopting the committee's recommendation on the 4 heads. But on top there, you are in fact expressing your concern over the reduced allocations to programs like the disaster management and the risk mitigation, something like that, and also under NIPA. But during your work as a committee, we have not seen anywhere, and I'm not saying it's a must, where maybe we are recommending movements of funds within the heads. Were you okay with the way the funds are sitting? we haven't seen where you are recommending to say maybe to, like, for example, there's a concern under the Head 19 DMMU where the reduced allocation of resources. So within that head, was there any or no other line where you could move some funds to cater for this?
Basically, looking at the all heads that we had looked at and the reductions that have been done on the budget, it was quite difficult for us to say we move this when even in these other areas they are also a bit impaired in terms of the budget.
Okay.
So we had just to leave it like that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Smushi?
Thank you, Chair. I think mine is just a comment. When we went to Kenya for benchmarking, I think one of the differences that is there in terms of our budgeting is, I think, with regards to how much money is allocated to a head. So I think Parliament there approves the heads first, even before the actual budgeting process is done. So I think what that cures is what we are trying to find ourselves in here, where I find that the head total is actually very small compared to what you need. So for them, they cure that problem before the budgeting process is done, so that the head approvals are done, but that is also done by Parliament instead of the way we do it here. So maybe there's need to also bring that on board as we try to refine our process in terms of budget.
Yes, Honorable Piri.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. I think I just want to add on the same question that you had raised concerning the low funding. I don't know whether this committee can move some funds, because surely when you look at what NIPA submitted, they really need some funds for them to do the capacity building of the public funds, which is a very good program. So we feel that although as a committee we never moved some funds, because we looked at how the allocations were made. You see, when we talk of disasters, surely we need more funds to this head. And I don't know, I just want to appeal to you, if this committee can move some funds to these institutions like NIPA and also disaster, so that we have adequate funds to cure the unforeseen. Thank you so much.
Okay. So maybe just as a comment, that process in fact starts with your committee. Obviously, the technocrats as they come, and you do recommend to vary the amounts, which must be in the report. You know, our standing orders do allow us, like your committee, to vary within the head the amounts. But for this committee, we needed to take, that's why I was asking whether you considered that if you check standing orders 169, okay, within the head, unless if you are varying amounts from one head to the other, that's when now the Minister of Finance and National Planning, in consultation with the relevant minister for that head, can try to move the amounts. I see a hand from Honorable Kalila. Dr. Kalila.
Yeah, so Chair, I must declare interest that I'm a member of this committee. And what my colleagues are trying to say is that the allocations across the various sectors themselves were not enough, such that it is even so difficult to take them away to allocate to this very important submission that was made by NIPA. So my colleague is asking whether this expanded committee has a mandate or a way to try and assist NIPA, not necessarily from taking away the little that is there already in cabinet. I think that's the question.
We can only assist in that way, Dr. Kalila, if you will give us that within the head. But as you have indicated, it's very tight, because within the head you can't.
Yeah, but so, are we able to impress it to the Minister of Finance? That committee has it got that power?
So so that's exactly what we needed. If you wanted that impression, it must be in this report. Say we're recommending that the Minister of Finance maybe 20 million from other sources. to cater for this line, and those are the recommendations we wanted to give it to, would have given to the minister, and that has not come, like to say this is what we are recommending. But we are still having this process in terms of discussion. I think maybe you can maybe still work around it. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. Chair, may I also declare interest that I'm actually the chairperson for the Cabinet Affairs Committee, though I'm sitting on the side of the Expanded Budget Committee. Chair, just to add on what Honorable Dr. Kalila has mentioned, we have listened to your guidance perfectly well, and with your indulgence, since the Vice Chair is here to present the report on behalf of the Cabinet Affairs, at this juncture, is it too late for you to consider, or rather for you and this committee to consider that request of increasing the funds for NIPA, so that the presidential directive that was given that NIPA must start training at least a minimum of 500 civil servants per annum can be actualized? Thank you so much, Honorable Chair.
Maybe what as a committee we can request you is to one, is it called an addendum? You add to this submission. So you need maybe to go as a team, just sit. No, you not. Honorable Kalila, in fact, you are a member of the expanded.
Chair, I think through this, it's more or less, Chair, we are submitting to you. So
this is this committee wants to work with figures, and we get your submission. You interacted with what NIPA needs. You are the one, for example, I want to believe NIPA gave you the figures. They are shortfall, which they need to manage their activities, isn't it? So it's just maybe through the clerk, your clerking officer for that. It's just to do maybe one pager.
Okay, we have taken your advice, that one, and we will ask our secretariat to do that.
To give you that.
Thank you.
That will be helpful. Any other questions, comments from our members? I don't see any. Maybe the last one. When you were interacting with the techno class, because this is worrying, where you see the reduced amounts and the like, what was the reasons for that? If at all you asked them, because you can imagine under maybe also the vice president, isn't it? There's a reduced amount. Did you engage them? Why?
Well, chairperson, when we interacted with them, they said they were given the seedings.
Okay.
In their budget lines.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, honourable members, I don't see another comments. We'll end here. Committee on Cabinet Affairs, thank you very much for appearing before this expanded planning and budgeting committee, and your recommendations plus what is coming is expected basically from this committee that will take care of those as we do our final report. So thank you very much for coming. At this moment we can let you go, except for the substantive chairman who has to be here until we finish. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, honorable members.
The National Assembly of Zambia invites applications from suitably qualified and experienced candidates to fill the following positions. 1. Printing Assistant, 1 candidate. Main duties and responsibilities: printing debates, running, photocopying documents, printing reports, abstracts and other publications, and performing other duties as assigned by the supervisor. Qualifications and experience: a grade 12 school certificate, holder of a certificate in printing, certificate in graphic design will be an added advantage and at least 2 years working experience in a similar field. 2. Annotation assistant, 1 candidate. Main duties and responsibilities: annotating proceedings of the House, collating and distributing members' contributions, playing the national anthem to commence the parliamentary proceedings, keeping an audio and printed record of the proceedings of the House, and performing other duties as assigned by the supervisor. Qualifications and experience: Grade 12 school certificate, holder of a diploma in journalism, certificate in graphic design will be an added advantage, and computer survey, and at least 2 years working experience in a similar field. All qualifications must be verified by the Zambia Qualifications Authority, ZAQA. Applications with detailed curriculum vitae clearly indicating 3 traceable referees, including their contact details, should be submitted and addressed to the Honorable Madam Speaker, National Assembly, Parliament Buildings, P.O. Box 31299, Lusaka. The closing date of receipt of applications is 21st October 2024. Please note that only shortlisted candidates will be contacted.
Did you know that you can still watch your favorite shows from anywhere, anytime? Yes! Just download the StarTimes own app from Google Play or Apple Store, then register. You can link your DTT or DTH decoder to up to 3 devices by entering your smart card number and the last 6 digits of your decoder serial number. Then voila! You're good to go. You can also pay for your subscription, change your preferred bouquet and other self-services on the app. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Topstar. Enjoy digital life.
You don't need to suffer from load shedding anymore. Liveltech is here to save the day. Imagine this. You're in the middle of an important task and boom, power cut. Frustrating, right? Well, not anymore. Introducing Liveltech, your go-to for advanced energy storage solutions. With Liveltech, you can store electricity and use it whenever you need it. Homes, schools, businesses, Liveltech powers them all. Our commitment to quality is unmatched, backed by a 10-year warranty. Picture this: happy families, productive businesses, and uninterrupted power supply. That's the Liveltech promise. So, why worry about power cuts? Choose Liveltech and embrace a future of energy independence. Contact us today to learn more. Liveltech, your trusted solar experts.